Hello, hello. Well, I'm doing fine, thank you. And yourself? I'm doing well. Yourself? Muy excelente. Hey, Jude. Michael. Wow, I don't think we've ever filled this out like this in a long time. Well, seats for everybody. It's been a while, a few years. Yeah. You got it? What's that? Oh. After that, it's like. Of course. So y'all figured it out? Oh, oh, wonderful. They always look so. Huh? Oh, wonderful. Uh-huh. And who was Lorraine? I know, but describe. I mean, I'm sure, because and I'm going, Gloria, if I don't see a face, if I don't if I don't know people, well, socially, for me. Yeah, exactly. But she didn't live here in the park. Oh, okay. Oh, wonderful. Yeah. And Janie, everything going good? Doing well? Wonderful. My great nephew's father and him and his dad's girlfriend, her son, are all coming. They're gonna spend 1 or 2 nights with us and then go on a cruise also. I don't know if they're going to Bermuda, but. One thing you've never been. Caribbean. So it's gonna be, oh, it's very nice. I had a cousin who lived there 4 years, yeah. Mhm. So he's doing well. Yeah. Still local, yeah. Lovely lady. Yeah. Mhm. So no. How you doing, Michael?
Guys,
Brought a beer for everybody? Oh.
it was a water.
Very well, yourself? Good. Family good? Are your kids out of the house or how old are they now? You have 2 daughters or daughter and son? I couldn't- Yeah.
Yeah, but he got a full ride to Florida. Stayed there for a couple of years and then decided he wanted the best one. Now he's in the LCC.
Wonderful.
Gonna tell you. He's actually living at home and finishing up. My daughter is in Tampa and she's, that'll be 22 in May and my son's is 22.
My goodness.
Yep. And we got a little aspect and that's the dog, yep.
The hair.
Yeah.
They got the hair.
I do remember him now. It's just that between you and Drew, I couldn't remember who had what, and it was like, cause they were all close in the ages.
They're- two people in Europe, one of them, and one of them.
Rodolfo, how you doing? Over a year, hasn't it been? It's been a long time. A long
I think Gary resigned like this month, so that's why I say.
time. No, but we didn't have a full board then. Did we?
Yeah.
Did
Because
we?
we still had, Brian. We had you, me, Linda. And Gary resigned and then we stayed short until tonight.
Anybody, likewise. When did you usually do? It looks like a lot of stuff going on.
Doesn't, it's not that much. tonight.
No, it's.
No,
just-
we've been having,
it's
just cleaning
one,
up a
two.
bunch of,
Yeah,
cleaning up and, well,
working from a new fine schedule.
did you get a copy of the?
That would have been, with the attorney's packet that came with your welcome packet, but I made extras. Not to worry.
Was, I mean, really, all it is this right here,
Yeah, exactly.
and I still don't.
It's pretty simple, thankfully.
It's mainly just the top little, small section.
I can put mine right here that we can, that's good. Don't worry.
Michael, you'll find that in the, the attachment that would have come with your welcome stuff from Valerie Vicente. She did a whole kind of
Oh,
primer for us.
good.
You want to refer to it up. Steve.
You know that she worked.
Janie or,
Valerie.
oh, Valerie.
Oh,
I thought Janie was at the Miami Herald.
Oh, not for a long time.
Oh,
On since 2008.
it's been that long.
Yeah.
When you retired?
Yeah. When you retired.
Well, they retired Bob that year. Ma'am, if you're here to testify, we ask that you sign in by your case on the desk. Thank you. Okay, are we ready? Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Compliance Board meeting of the Village of Biscayne Park. Today is Monday, March 27. It's 6:30. Would the code officer please call roll?
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer, Village of Biscayne Park. Janie Anderson, Rodolfo Barrientos, Dale Blayton, Judy Hammelberg, Michael Lenot,
Here.
all present.
What I'm going to ask is that we, from here out, move the preamble and the swearing in to under roll call, because I just think it flows better if we handle those two things before we start actually doing business. That's okay with everyone? I'll do the preamble now, and then John will do the swear, I'm sorry, Raphael will do the swearing in. Good evening again, everyone. This is a meeting of the Village of Biscayne Park Code Compliance Board. The board is authorized pursuant to Chapter 14 of the Village's Land Development Code to ensure compliance with the village's Code of Ordinances. The members of the board are citizens and residents of the Village of Biscayne Park. We volunteer our time, and we are not paid for our services. The purpose of each hearing is to give any alleged violators the opportunity to contest the decision of the Code Compliance Officer, which resulted in the issuance of a notice of violation, and to determine whether a violation of the village's code has occurred or is occurring. We are not authorized to dismiss violations based on hardships, ignorance of the fact, or the fact that others may be guilty of the same violation. These hearings are conducted in a quasi-judicial manner. Our responsibility is to act much like a judge in a court, and that is to hear cases presented by the village's code compliance officers and to hear contradictory arguments presented by the alleged violators. We are not authorized to change the code. The village commission is solely authorized to enact or revise codes. Conversely, neither the commission nor the village manager have the authority to overrule the findings of the board. Pursuant to Chapter 162 of the Florida statutes, orders of the board can only be appealed to the Circuit Court of Miami-Dade County. We have the authority to assess and order the payment of civil penalties, to issue orders having the force of law, to command whatever steps are necessary to bring a violation into compliance, and to assess administrative costs. In order to make a finding upholding the code compliance officer's decision, we must find that there's been substantial, competent evidence that the named violator was responsible for a violation of the relevant section of the code as charged. All documentary evidence presented by the parties must be submitted for placement in the hearing file. No documentary evidence will be considered unless the alleged violator or code compliance officer submits a copy for the hearing file. Parties shall have the right to call and examine witnesses, to introduce exhibits, to cross-examine opposing witnesses on any matter relevant to the issues, even though that matter was not covered in the direct examination, to impeach any witness regardless of which party first called them to testify, and to rebut the evidence against them. So if you intend to address the board tonight, please sign in by your case. And anyone wishing to address the board, I would ask that you please stand to be sworn in by Raphael.
Please stand up and raise your right. Do you swear or affirm that testimony you're about to submit will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Okay, do we have any additions, deletions, or changes? Okay. Minutes, has everyone had the chance to read February's minutes? Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve. I thought they were very well written.
They were absolutely, I don't know who did these, they were spectacular. Really, really, I mean, somebody can pick these up. Know what, and I'm like a stickler for minutes, these are great. Well, I'll second that motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Okay, we're ready.
Our first case on the old business would be 6A, 826 Northeast 121st Street, case number EEN 22-0383, Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer for the Village of Biscayne Park.
Is the building official here?
No, the building official is not here.
That would have helped. Okay. What really struck me, I have to say, in the engineering's report was the amount of effort that he put into attempting to validate what he seems to feel is the value of that property and using comps in the neighborhood. Apparently, he says 4 surrounding properties. Well, the 4 surrounding properties are able to be inhabited. He's dealing with a structure that isn't. So it's kind of like, that's not just not comparing apples to apples, it's comparing apples to kumquats. It just was interesting that he took that much time. If you go down to our building officials report, you can see quite an extensive amount of documentation that the engineer never even mentioned. Now, he has said 60 days. Do either of you know, any of you know, is he meaning 60 days from the date of this letter? Okay. That's effectively by May 8th, give or take a day or two. You see, they either have come into compliance by providing all 5 of those documents.
Yes.
Or he will be going to Miami-Dade to petition for a tear down. Oh, I guess we're in our kind of usual place. Any questions, anybody? Did everybody have the chance to?
Yeah, well, I read the report and all that, but it's so inconsistent with everything they say. It's just, it seems to me that they're just playing a game. I don't know what kind of game it is, but it is, there's something going on there.
It's more of a real estate report than it
Mhm.
was an
Exactly.
engineer's report.
Yeah, there's no structural, there's no structural explanation as to how sound the house it is. Not just logically thinking, all the years that have been sitting there, that has to be some extensive damage all over.
And to do comps based on 4 surrounding properties, all the surrounding properties are
That
fine.
doesn't make sense.
Well, this is certainly not.
And
When you look at what our building official put out, this is what the engineer, I would have expected it from him to say, these are the steps we're going to take instead. So I guess
Why isn't he here? Or wouldn't they,
I'm sorry.
shouldn't they be here and arguing their case in addition to this? If they have got a position, like why aren't they here?
Sure.
One of the reasons is that it's been dealing with the village and the village manager, and it's an ongoing issue that we have asked them to give us a report up until this point at March.
Right.
This time they had been giving a little report to the village manager. The village manager has not, has given us a little synopsis that with an email that they've been in contact with paraphrasing. This is a little more extensive, and now it looks like it's pushing the thing on down to May the 8th.
Yeah.
Either they'll be submitting requests for permits, or putting in a request to have it demolished.
Because we were at the point, Michael, where we couldn't really assess any more fines. We couldn't make, once the commission got involved, once there is a potential for a complete demolition, if Miami-Dade gives permission, if it gets that far, that they don't satisfy these 5 points, then we really can't pile on. So we just have to sort of, we go month by month, we listen to the report, and we sort of have to hold back. Because, again, it would be at this point piling on.
Okay.
And they already have a number of sites.
Right.
Yeah.
now I moved in here in 1996. This building has never been inhabited. It was been vacant since before I moved in 1996.
And I will give the past couple of commissions a tremendous amount of credit for at least finally bringing it forward and sticking with it. I mean, yeah, it's been still a back and forth process, but at least it's not going away this time, which is what's always happened before. It would get brought up and we'd see a month or two at a commission meeting. It never came back to this board, or I think it went to P and Z maybe once. And it wasn't acceptable and it kind of just died out. So hopefully now that they have an actual solid deadline of that the city will then go to Miami-Dade County. Hopefully we will either see some action or that's it, we come to a decision, because it really is enough of the merry-go-round that
Right.
go on.
And I'm looking at this estimated cost to repair is $200,000. I mean, my neighbor is adding on a bedroom and a bathroom to the back of his house. And they're
Probably
looking at
close to that.
$300,000
You know, it's
for their addition.
unrealistic. There's no
So
way.
to call a renovation of a house that's been vacant for 30 years, only needing 200,000, I
My
mean,
addition
probably need 100,000 in plumbing.
over 20 years ago was 100,000. And that was over 20 years ago. So this 180 that he put forward, it's not believable. because
Cost, yeah.
There's no
It's
there's no
crazy,
statements, there's no,
right?
estimates, nothing. It's a number.
So do we have to take like a vote or anything, or we just note it and move on?
Like, do me a favor, microphone, yes. They don't pick up well
Okay,
at all.
so do we make a vote? Like, what do we do now? Do we wait till May 8th? Do we make some kind of a motion? Like, what do we do now?
At this point, we just usually, we may basically go to table it to the next month, ask them to come back with another
Okay.
report, because there's really nothing we can move on. So if everybody's okay with that, we will just ask for the usual, a report in April. Thank you. And please thank Pedro for that very extensive report. That was incredibly helpful.
Yeah, so do you need a motion on this? Is what we're asking.
Um,
A motion to table till, where we, and.
Right, the usual bring a report
Next month
next
for
hearing.
the village to provide a,
Okay,
update.
I'll second it.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Next case.
No.
Our next case, 6C. Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer, Village of Biscayne Park. 11605 Northeast, 11th Place, case number EEN 22-0454. Carrie A. De Castro and Arturo de Castro.
Hello.
That is
The-
the one where this-
And pertaining to this case, this was a violation for failure to provide a construction fence as per village construction ordinance.
Those of us who were here then, if you remember, this was the lack of a safety enclosure for a pool being under constructed. And the fine apparently is still outstanding. So the village is looking to place a lien. Anything the code officers would like to?
The property is now in compliance. I'm sorry, Doreen Grant, Code Compliance Supervisor. The case, the violation itself is now in compliance, but the $1,000 fine that was issued by the board has not been paid. So we are asking for permission from the board to lien the property.
You
I'm
sure?
asking to see if you can
Would-
reduce the
would you
fine.
Please identify yourself. and your
Yes, my name-
relationship To the property.
Sure, absolutely. My name is Arturo de Castro. I'm the owner of the property.
I was here, the first time that it was brought up to the case. I wasn't present. I was again put on the board, and I don't know if you guys remember, sometime in September, but I stayed here the entire day and my name was not, brought up. I was talking to the previous, inspector, and then he left. I sent an email in December to see if I can get this, my case brought back up to the board. And here I am. I just, the fence was 3 days, and I'm asking to see if I can have a reduce of the fine.
If you want to make a fine reduction, that requires a separate form. There is a fee to put in for a fine reduction. We don't hear a fine reduction in this format. You are absolutely entitled to ask for a fine reduction, but there is a process.
Okay. What is that process? Because I've tried to get it, to get it done.
If you go into Village Hall, I'm sure either of the code officers or Raphael can work with you. They'll give you the proper form. There's information that form will ask from you. And then again, there is a fee and we will hear that. If you get it done quickly, I'm sure we can hear it in April.
Okay,
But right now, we can't touch a fine reduction.
okay.
Meanwhile, I'd like to make a motion. Make a motion, to, authorize the village to file a lien if the, property owner, on case number EEN 22-457 has not submitted a fine reduction by 2 weeks from now,
April 10th.
by April the 10th.
I'll second that.
Yeah, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And motion passes 5-0. So you understand, if you file for your fine reduction by April 10th, we will hear your case. If it's
Okay.
not filed by then, the city will go through the process of filing a lien.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
April 10th.
Are we ready for the next one? Okay. He is here.
Our next case, 6B. Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer, Village of Biscayne Park. 1210 Northeast, 121st Street, case number EEN. Our next case, 6B. Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer, Village of Biscayne Park. 1210 Northeast 121st Street. Case number EEN 21-0837. Oriana Estefany Aveledo is here for a reduction request.
Has a permit been pulled?
In this particular case, the property owner opted to remove the pergola. So they removed it. They are now in compliance and now they're asking for a reduction of the fine that has been running since October 23rd of 2021 until,
It was just removed today. I'm sorry, that was the fine. When was the pergola removed?
well, the pergola was removed some time ago, but there were two posts that were standing and I did not accept that as complete compliance. So complete compliance was confirmed today.
Questions?
No questions. I mean, I see there was a $75 fine in the running per day.
I've got one, I think you had in your fine reduction request, you kind of outlined some, some issues with trying to get the lien closed out or the violation closed out that may have delayed some time.
Correct, yes. We actually removed we removed the major portions of the pergola back in July. The two posts that were remaining were not technically, I don't think was an issue as part of the pergola, because they were just at that point just decorative. It could have been for landscape purpose, but we removed the parts that were within the easement, the setback of the village ordinance, which is the 10 feet from the property line. Because from October till about June, we were trying to get some engineering done to be able to counterlever that pergola to keep it that same size. But unfortunately, it was too expensive, so we opted not to do that. So in that, we did remove it.
Posts were still there.
The posts were still there.
That in and of itself is still a problem because that is a structure that wind load has to be looked at, proper anchoring has to be looked at. So that's why code officer said that was not acceptable as compliant.
I understand, but in that particular sense, it has nothing to do with an anchoring. It's not a structure. It's not attached to any structure. It's independent. It doesn't require any wind load whatsoever. Because again, it could just be an architectural feature. It's removable.
Well, let me ask you a question. Is it Mr. Avaledo?
Uh,
Miss Avaledo or Ariana? And are you the one that filled out this form? And when you took out down the pergola, your mindset was that you took it down, that you could put a light on this or, I mean, what was the intent with regard, you took the pergola down, the structures were still there, those posts, like what was your
We
thought?
were gonna build planters around the decking. So those were gonna be used at one point for vines. So we're gonna stand vines, then do some type of like landscape lighting around, do some string lights. At least keep something in the back there.
So the fine that was imposed was, and this daily fine thing is because those posts were there? Initially for the pergola, then you took down the pergola, but the one that you're asking for the reduction is because you've been getting banged for this daily charge for the two posts that were there, right?
As it continues, because he had not come into full compliance. So yes, it continued.
I would save my questions for the testimony, but because I'm sort of agreeing with Michael in that with the removal of the pergola roof, which is what was cited, the roof and pergola, the posts in and of themselves to me isn't a structural item. I mean, in that.
Depends on how they're there. That's what.
Right.
They're awfully tall posts. It's not like it's a 4-foot or 5-foot post.
I mean, no, and I looked at those and the pictures that were impressive to me. I mean, they got a fine for a pergola. They took down the pergola. The posts were still there. They're going to try to repurpose it into vines for planters or whatever, and this fine that was it $37,400 because they got a couple of, posts sitting up that they wanted to put some vines on. I think the bottom line is that they complied. They have substantial compliance. And they're, I mean, I have an issue with, with those charges.
My main question is, when was the roof removed?
Yes, that's a very good question because our first inspection was in February when we found the posts. So the daily fine was running from when the case came to the board to February 27 when the inspector went there. So
Okay, so the inspector went there and it was gone. right? In February.
Right.
But we don't know when it got there. But I mean, so so it's happened in July.
It was in July.
Okay, July of last year.
Or
of last
did
year.
the,
That would make the time frame considerably smaller.
and when was the first violation?
October 23-21 is when the daily fine started.
2021.
Right.
Right, so
So
from,
it was removed last year in July, according to the testimony.
Basically about 9
that's
months.
9
9 months. Okay. I have, I'll be honest, unless anybody has other objections, I have no problem with what they've offered.
I don't either.
I don't either. So if you'd like to make a
Sure.
motion.
I make a motion in case EEN 21-0837, the property owners have come into compliance and we would accept their offer of $1,000 toward their, I'm sorry, to satisfy their fine
I'll second.
and close the case once the fine is paid.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good luck.
Do our
Six
orders of
Delta.
enforcement, and I should know the answer to this, say on them that when the client comes, okay, you're reading my mind. My concern is, and I don't think they always do, that when someone gets the order of enforcement, see, after we decide whatever we decide tonight, they go back, they type up the proper orders of enforcement, everything we've decided is filled in, but I don't think in the past, it always said, your responsibility when you comply with this is to notify the code officer.
Mm.
And that's a critical piece of information because people think, I did it, somebody's gonna notice. Nah, no. So I'm glad to see that on there.
But I also have an issue with those beams standing up tall, not knowing how they're anchored or what they are. Those are not small beams. If it were a fence post, it would need to be inspected. So I understand. I mean,
I'm okay.
there
with
needs to be, right.
considered, but I mean, we're kind of looking at these posts like it's a nothing, and that's not necessarily it because we've got no idea what's holding them down.
No, and if you're going to put a vine up, that's an awfully big post. That's that's not a 4x4. I think it's a 6x6. So that's
I
it.
agree.
But I also was
Heavy.
reading part of their testimony. I mean, we need to move on, but part of their testimony was that they attempted deal with the village previously. So I would have been just inquiring if did they have any documentation about that, but
Mhm.
not knowing what the village had told them, if just removing the roof would satisfy it, which I know in the past things have been said like that, so I would have liked to heard that.
Yeah.
I think-
You're absolutely right, Gail. And it was our responsibility as inspectors to go back and make an inspection according to what the order said. That's the part that we didn't do. Custodian of records, we were not here. So,
Mhm.
I think
Because like you said, that's a big post.
yeah.
We're 2 months, 3 months from hurricane season. Just say that it doesn't matter how it's anchored, which is they seem to imply. I mean, no. Tell that to your next door neighbor.
Now, and my worry would be it's just a post for them to string another type of thing on later and you still don't know what it's anchored to.
I'm sorry.
My worry would be that it's there to put up something else later.
That too. You're right. Right. It suddenly it will become something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6D.
Thank you.
Our next case, 6D, Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer, Village of Biscayne Park. 12015 Northeast 6th Avenue, case number EEN 21-0678. Camille Brighton. I'm sorry, Brightman.
Okay,
Ma'am, if you wouldn't mind, identify yourself and your relationship to the property.
my name is Camille Brightman. I am the owner without the bank, I guess. So really the bank owns it. I'm here because I purchased the house in 2004. It was my first home purchase. When I bought it, it was completely renovated. I didn't have to do anything to it. So I know when you started this meeting, you said you don't allow ignorance or no knowledge of home ownership, but I don't have any knowledge of home ownership and compliance and codes and all this kind of stuff. So here we are 20 years later, I needed a new roof. I trusted my roofing company to know. I've trusted the pool company to know. I've trusted people that have been in my house in the last 2 years to know the rules and to come by here and stand up in my presence or for me for the codes and compliance and permits and whatnot. The dumpster was there for 2 days when they removed the roof. I received the violation months after it was there and gone. I gave it to the company, the pro roofing guy, his name is Robert. He told me he would take care of it. Me being naive and trusting someone that owns a company to do what they say they're going to do, I trusted him to do it. A year and a half later, I get another notice in the mail that my house is going to be up for a lien, and now I owe $11,000 for a dumpster that was there for 2 days. So I went to the office here and said, what do I do? Because this guy kept blowing smoke up my bum, telling me he was calling, he was going, he was whatever, when I sent it to him, the roofing company guy. These nice people were kind enough to tell me to apply for the reduction of the fee, to fill out the paper for the permit. I paid for it. I did the permit. And now I'm here just to ask for the
Ma'am,
$300.
It's sad to say you are not the first and you won't be the last. Someone who's normally, that's what you think you're able to do. You trust your contractor. You don't expect to have to know what they know, or you would do it yourself.
Right.
So I totally, completely get it. I understand.
And the second letter didn't come for a year and a half. So, I mean, had I known I needed to do it 3 months later, or if there'd have been another notice on my door that says now you owe $1,000 as opposed to 300, I would have come to the city sooner.
And I would like to make a correction on the amount owing. We recalculated and it's $5,970. It's not 11,000.
I'm sure that doesn't make it feel better. But
I was told by somebody that I could file if I had to pay it, that I could put something, the city would pay me back, and then they would put a hold on my contractor's license until he paid the city back. So,
No. Legally, we cannot take action against a contractor.
no, I know that I would pay the fine, and then I would go to the city and file a complaint against this person. That's what somebody told me in their office.
No, not here. Civil court, maybe.
So, I had a question, but it was for I can address you guys, right? With regard to the part that she said that it took her to get that second letter was how long between the
A year
first
and a
and second?
half. It was July that I received the first one of 2021. I didn't receive the second letter until February of 2023.
And then does this, like the last case where you're just a records
Absolutely.
custodian? And, okay, so I mean, I think that's an issue. I mean, if we didn't do anything for another year, it would have been even higher and it would have just kept going.
You have a problem.
Okay.
With follow through and reminders. I'm gonna go out on a limb again unless anybody feels otherwise. I certainly have no problem accepting her offer.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
I'm in agreement. I see you paid a double permit fee as well as the $300 offer.
And you know, I so appreciated your honesty, the fact that you even said in your write-up, you didn't follow up with the guy, but just again, you didn't think you had to.
Right.
Now, and I get it, but now in the future, I always suggest, whenever you're starting anything major, meet with these folks. They will be glad to kind of give you the,
Well, it's interesting because I would
details.
love to do a pergola in front of my house. Now I know that you need a permit.
but
You need a permit for almost everything.
everything.
Okay, so in case EEN 21-0678, my motion would be that we accept the $300 fine offer and close the case as soon as the fine is paid. Michael second.
Yeah, I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed?
I have
Motion
till
passes
Monday.
five
Can I
nothing.
pay it Monday? I'm leaving out of town tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Right.
Our next case, 7F, Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer, Village of Biscayne Park. 11801 Northeast 10th Avenue, case number CEN 23-26. Linda Brewer. Violation for this case is property maintenance, section 8.4.3 B.
Let me take just a couple minutes so that everybody can glance through. And Mr. Fulbright will- Oh, let me know when everybody's ready. We're good? Okay. This, of course, is probably the toughest situation that we've probably ever seen, because you've got a a resident who passes away, no will. The gentleman who will likely be her personal representative himself is older and lives in upstate New York. So we're gonna have to be flexible. I get that. This first case, though, and I would like seeing in the cover letter that you've already contacted someone about the landscaping.
Right.
That's the one that, to me, has a sense of urgency. And shouldn't have to wait legally. I wouldn't think it has to wait for the personal representative, would it?
I think that I'm going to go out of pocket on that. I'm meeting with him tomorrow. He was supposed to go out last Tuesday and he was ill, so we're meeting tomorrow afternoon and we're,
Because that, again, could be a potential safety hazard, and the more we get into the warm weather, the more it would be.
right.
I
And
would be comfortable. How does
The,
everybody?
the reason that it's been delayed to this point is because the neighbors have been mowing for months and months.
Oh,
That's my understanding.
The neighbors have been taking care of it, and the neighbors just finally said,
How does everybody, but I don't think that we're really in a position to set a deadline. I would think, if it's okay with code officers, I would prefer to see them work with Mr. Lafredo,
absolutely,
come up with an agreeable deadline, and then just report back to us next month.
absolutely.
And that-
Because you can't really do anything with the
Yeah.
vehicles,
I mean, this has to be handled completely
but
differently.
so long as the maintenance is up.
Right. I was gonna say that I wasn't familiar with how the board was acting. Thank you for your sympathy, but I could get an emergency order from, this is a newer probate judge who I don't have a relationship with or a past experience. It used to be Judge Muir in section 04. So I don't know whether he'd give me an emergency order without a personal representative being appointed to tow the vehicle. But if you all were gonna start finding the estate big money,
No,
just
you can't.
have
no.
somebody
No,
tow
no.
them anyway.
No, we're not heartless.
Who is the judge?
We're not. heartless.
Fernandez, I think. Jose Fernandez, I think. I'm not sure because there's been turnover. It's not Judge Cueto. Judge Cueto would, 5 seconds. But it isn't Judge Cueto.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
we absolutely had no intention of charging you big fines. This is a precedent case for us where the owner passed away. We had no access to estate information or anything. The only thing I could do was issue a violation ticket on the door and hope someone could come up.
well, Ms.
and
Grant has
say-
been very helpful to us.
And that's why too, I don't feel we could set a deadline. You three will be working with Mr. Lefredo on a regular
Absolutely.
basis. You keep in contact. You've obviously served on a yeoman's job in staying in touch and putting out the details, much appreciated. You guys work out an agreeable deadline, come back in April's meeting and
Well, I do
progress.
think we need to have some sort of
Motion.
deadline
Why don't,
with regards to the property maintenance, just cutting the grass and trimming it.
may I make a,
I want- I was gonna say it was a shame that the residents or neighbors hadn't pitched in, but from what I understand from Judy, they have. Until recently. And, so if you have a landscaper, contact them.
may I make a suggestion to show good faith with the officers who've been very courteous? Just give us a deadline to the next meeting.
Okay.
Then that gives me something, because I can get the order from you tomorrow, I guess.
That's
That gives
perfect.
me something
That's
I
a
can
great-
file an emergency petition with. And
Yeah.
get some kind of emergency.
Next
relief
month's meeting
because
is-
We had the other heir died in 2011 in Colorado, and we
Please.
got the approval last week to get the death certificate. We need that to get appointed. So we're very close, but if you all give me till then, I mean, I'll
That
just,
would be April 26th.
oh, that's wonderful. I'll just get it done, and then we don't have to put the pressure on the officer.
But in the meantime, you'll be getting somebody to take care of the property maintenance and.
Right, I'll
the
get that
mowing.
at least done, and I don't know if I have legal authority to tow the vehicles, but if it's gonna be a fine, I'm just gonna get them towed.
No, we're not going to do that right now.
All right, then I would make a motion in with me, case number CEN 23-26. A violation has occurred. The property to be at least basically cleaned up with all the overgrowth gone by April 26th.
Okay.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Opposed?
Sir,
We have one more that we need.
You have one more, sir.
Our next case, 7G, Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer, Village of Biscayne Park, 11801 Northeast 10th Avenue, case number CEN 23-27, Linda Brewer. Violation, section 9.17 abandoned property.
Now, would this one, Mr. Lafredo, be a little stickier because this would require the personal representative to be in place before property can be removed?
Legally, yes,
Okay.
that's true.
I was gonna say, I just went through this with a friend of mine and basically it couldn't do anything
No.
until I got all the letters of administration.
Right,
That
right.
way, So I would table it.
Yeah, this will have to table, just maybe come back with an update next month.
Agree.
Sorry,
I'll move to table to April 26th.
for tabling it.
Case number CEN.
Case number CEN 23-27.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. For long. Thank you, Mr. Lafredo.
Thank
Our next case, 7C, Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer, Village of Biscayne Park, 741 Northeast 111th Street, case number CEN 23-46, Evangelos Sampanatis. Violation, section 18.6.1.1, containment of garbage dumpster.
Good evening. I am Evangelos, the owner of the property.
Which one are we doing first? Richard?
7C.
For the dumpster.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Is it dumpster or the fence?
46,
We're doing 46.
Seven-
This is the dumpster.
Yeah, 7B is the first one though, which is the pool.
That is correct.
Doesn't matter, as long as we get to them all. You want to do C first? Okay.
In reference to case number 23-46, was observed that on the property, we had debris on the front lawn, large bricks, construction debris in the front of the house. And we had palm fronds in front of the house also.
Questions, comments?
Which one are we doing first?
C,
Seven.
the dumpster, Michael?
All right, so this is the dumpster.
The dumpster?
Again, 23-46.
My picture in. on
That's correct.
46 is a fence. I don't see a dumpster.
Because there is no dumpster. That's the point. There's all the debris and there's no dumpster. What they're saying is
Oh,
this should have been contained. If you start with the first picture,
got it. Okay.
it's a lot of debris and not properly contained.
It's a construction site that didn't have a dumpster, and that's required.
Those,
So he's cleaned it up. He's cleaned up the debris and hasn't come in to apply for a permit for a dumpster. There's still no dumpster. Permits are still open. So I'm assuming construction is going to continue even though they've cleaned up now. So they do need the dumpster because they haven't finished doing the fence.
what's going on with the dumpster?
I totally understand you. You are correct. I did not use a dumpster. Actually, I found a company here in Miami Shores that what they do, they come with a truck and their workers and they take out the debris and they clean up the area. So this is what I have done. They came and they clean up everything. I didn't know that it was absolutely necessary to have a dumpster since they told me we can come in the morning and there are three workers with this gentleman that from Miami Shores. The name of the company is Green Day Loan. His name is Joseph. He came with his truck and a small, let's say like open trailer in the back of the truck, and they put everything, all the concrete, the bricks and everything, this garbage, this trash that was there. You are correct, yes.
I would like to mention that he has two big permits open, one for a driveway and one for a fence. The driveway is done, but that debris has been sitting on the property for a very long time. It's up to the board, this honorable board, to decide how they want to take this case, but the property owner needs to understand that keeping debris on a construction site is not
Not acceptable.
acceptable.
You can't have a property looking like this, sir.
You-
And as far as not knowing, what did I read in the preamble? That's not an excuse. I want to see him have the dumpster as long as there is still construction going on. Absolutely, because this will just happen again. And if you remember, oh, no, you wouldn't because you guys weren't here then. We heard cases of property last year
Last year.
of a similar vein. Right. So
The same owner?
same one.
Oh, same owner, okay.
And some misinformation was provided.
Yeah.
At the time.
So I want to see a dumpster required. Now, so he's not pulled a permit, which means that's going to take.
He went for the alternative that he's saying, that he had someone
No.
come and clean up.
Mm-mm.
That's what That's not what the violation was for. It wasn't for the cleanup. The violation was for him to have a construction dumpster because there's the construction going on still on the property.
Right, and it, before you call a company, naturally, you're gonna want it to pile up because the company's not gonna come
Right.
and clean up every day. So that doesn't work. When do you folks think realistically we would have the order of enforcement done? Because I'm trying to work that into a date.
2 days?
So roughly like by Wednesday of this week? Why no? So would it be realistic to give him a deadline? What is the process for a dumpster? permit? Come in and get it?
You need to go on OpenGov. And I'll give you the instructions. And then you apply online and the permit is issued the same day. It's a very simple permitting process. So I can talk to you and give you the info how to go in.
But the orders of enforcement have to go out by certified.
Certified, so it'd be
We have
next
to-
week.
We have to build a little time into
They go certify on Wednesday.
so that. So would you say April 7 is fair? Or is that further? than it
Six.
needs to be?
Right.
April 7th would be fair?
How many days?
Uh,
I've got my calendar.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's,
Give you some time to get it, and if
that's
it's
a
a
week.
turnaround in
2
a day,
days.
if
Week
it's a
and 2 days.
turnaround in a day, that should be no problem.
That's fine.
We all agree, can I get a motion?
Sure, I'd make a motion that a violate on case number CN 23-46, that a violation has occurred. Give the property owner until violation has occurred, assess a fine of $250 and to obtain a dumpster permit by April the 7th. If not, a daily fine of $250
I'll,
a day.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
I was about to say something.
I thought you might.
So I didn't even say, I was just like. But this is like.
Yeah. What the attendants provided us tonight.
I'll make some. This is what we have.
So you need to get you need to get a dumpster.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I don't know what is the procedure, but I will do it. Okay.
That's the decision that you need.
That's the decision.
Yes,
And,
yes.
and these fines, the $250 a day, I was gonna say something about that, but they are been outlined by our attorneys, so.
Yes.
I mean, if you got ongoing construction, you might as well get it out there so you can,
It's the gates that they haven't given me the gates yet, this company. But you are absolutely correct. The construction is not finished, and if the rule is this, I have to follow the rule, yes. Okay.
Our next case,
waiting for those fences, because it looks like you just gotta get those fences on the front there.
Yeah, those fences in the front,
Yeah,
I'm waiting for the gate.
He's gonna read the case.
Yeah, we'll go to the next case. We're ready for the next
Okay.
case? We're okay?
our next case, 7B, Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer for the Village of Biscayne Park. 741 Northeast 111th Street, case number CEN-23-44, Evangelos Zampanidis. Violation section 18.3.6, safety barrier for swimming pool.
I'm not clear, the second picture, Luciano, what is that fencing area?
The sides of the building, left and the right. So these parts of the building, of the property were open, they were wide open, and he has a swimming pool in the back. And that's a violation. You cannot have a swimming pool that doesn't have a fence around it.
Right.
Or a circumference fence around the property. So I issued a hazard, which came with $1,000 fine. And I went to his house. We were together when he put all of this up because I needed him to secure the place right away. He did that. And I was okay with it. because he told me in 3 weeks he would have the gates done. We went there today, the gates are still not there. So that he still has the temporary barriers, and these temporary barriers are like temporary barriers.
Yeah.
He needs to secure.
Please tell me it's not red.
No, it's the.
He has the wood.
Oh.
He has the wood on sides.
Yes.
I think there's also Florida statutes that require the fencing. I mean, unfortunately, I'm a trial lawyer. I tried a case involving a young 19-month-old kid that got into a pool and drowned. You know, and so I'm all too familiar with this, and obviously it is a hazard because any child can get, you know, back there and die. You know, it was not $1,000, we're talking millions of dollars in terms of, you know, potential risk and liability. So I mean, in a situation like this, I mean, it's obviously clear that there's a public health concern right out of the box because of that. And it sounds like, from what I'm hearing, that you're having a problem with your fence guy.
The fence company, they sent me the drawing 4 days ago again. And I said, please go ahead and submit the drawing. I need to,
But
you know,
sir, in the interim, you could have put up a construction fence.
yeah.
Now,
Around the
back
pool.
20-some years ago, when I did my pool, you were only required to put that orange mesh stuff. That doesn't hold anymore. You've got to, at the very least, have a construction fence. So while you were waiting for your real fence to be built, that's what should have been there.
I was, when they came to put the fence and to tear down the old gate, I was expecting to put everything. And they told me, no, we're waiting to put the gates with the front, which is like 15.
Ultimately, the buck stops with the
Yeah,
homeowner, sir.
You're right, you're right.
Well, let me ask you,
I haven't done anything on the pool. The pool was there. I didn't.
right, but the access to the pool is what we're
Yeah, you're
talking
right.
about. But let me ask a question. When you initially noticed the violation or that the open area that's a potential danger, a drowning danger, you immediately went to the homeowner.
Literally went to his house. I sat with him. I was with him for a long, I waited for him to cover it up.
And you covered it up immediately that day. Okay, and now I guess, you know, the question is that now he's getting hung up by his fence guy. What is the alternative? Somebody mentioned a construction fence. What is the construction fence that he could get now in the interim? Because I mean, he's stuck between a rock and a hard place, it seems.
Right. If he put a fence around the pool itself, because there are temporary fences that you can put around the pool, I would be okay with that. Because these are an eyesore to their neighbors, these barriers that he's put there. I was thinking they would be there, you know, for a short time and
Right.
have the fence,
No.
but without them being put there, the neighbors are complaining that we don't want to be looking at this, and I understand. They're not pretty to look at.
Well,
If he can put a temporary fence around the pool, I would be okay with that.
what were you gonna say?
I tried to get a quotation for a fence around the pool. They told me something like $1,100 for the fence. And I'm just asking if I will drain the water for the pool.
No.
Is it, it's not, okay.
Maybe
No, no.
cover it.
Okay, okay,
cover
I'm just
it.
asking, I didn't know,
If he
okay.
can cover the
Yeah.
pool, that would
Cover
also.
it, that's- yeah.
Right.
Because I mean, obviously you understand it's a drowning
Yeah,
hazard
it's
for kids.
like
And
you're
if
right,
it's
yeah.
nothing in there, then it's another hazard. Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
okay, yeah.
He travels, he works for a cruise line. He travels, so something might happen and he might not be in town for 3 months, so that's what my concern was.
But even if you drain the pool, once it rains, it starts filling up with water, then it's mosquitoes and then it's,
And even with a.
and
drain,
a
some
child could
people
fall
fall
into it, sure.
I mean, maybe they won't drown,
We
but
let-
they hurt some
So-
other way.
Well, $1,100 to get the fence around the pool, obviously, you know, is more than what the fine would be, really at this point. But I think that what you want to get is your fence, but in the absence of getting your fence now, you know, you've got neighbors that, I mean, it does look ugly, but it does seem like it was the Band-Aid for the situation at the time, but now that time has passed. Doesn't seem like it's your fault, seems like it's your fence guy's fault. But now you know, I think deal with your fence guy, but I think what the board is saying or what way I'm looking at it is I'm looking at it that you got to get some kind of construction fence or something in the front there because you have a hazard there for
So,
life.
so either I'm gonna put a fence around the pool,
Mhm.
or it's better maybe to put a better somehow like
I think in the front,
in the front of the house. When you
construction
go-
fence. What does the construction fence look like? Does anybody know?
It's a green
Yeah.
mesh like you see on.
It's the green mesh.
Yeah, it looks like.
Oh, yeah.
Like you
Right.
see on a lot of the tear downs now. Or
Right.
right over there.
Yes.
So that at least alerts people that there's construction going on
Oh,
and they kind
Maybe this one is better and will be
You think-
cheaper because this one it
Yes.
will be maybe 20 feet only on the side. of
Well,
the
that's what you need. What the question is it, that's pretty easy to find? Does you need a permit for that?
Yes.
And,
I need a
and-
permit for this.
and that was the reason why I didn't ask him to put a construction fence, because he has a fence permit open. So he'll have to come back and apply for a different kind of permit this time, which
Right,
is
temporary.
construct, right?
But we've got to do something. while we're
Absolutely.
waiting.
I see where he's at. I mean, if the actual fence, if there are issues to finishing it, then he's gonna have to do
There's no
the
choice.
temporary fence.
Right.
I mean, why don't we, I mean, really what the issue is that we want to get this thing protected.
Yeah.
And we want to, eliminate the eyesore for the neighbors, right? I mean, that's why we're of the people, for the people, by the people, right? That's what we're supposed to be doing here. So we need to remove that and also be in line with the safety measure. I mean, what can we do to, maybe give him some time to, whatever you guys think as far as the amount of time to get a permit for this construction fence and get it up, in a time certain, because that's the exigent circumstance right now.
Here's the big problem. Even construction fences have to go in front of planning and zoning.
But I mean,
This is a safety hazard.
it's a safety hazard. So we're gonna,
Maybe considering that it's a safety hazard, I can ask the building official if they can expedite this somehow.
can we make a motion from our
When's the next
authority here?
P&Z meeting?
When's the next meeting? P and Z, so we can have him on.
Well, the one thing is, he was placed on notice and given notice of violation, almost 17,
Right.
18, 19, 20 days ago. Oh, no more than that now. About a month ago.
About a month. It's a month
Yeah, a
now.
month and a day. So had time to have put in the proper request for.
Yeah, I was
Permit.
out of the country. I flew out.
In that
Oh,
month, he
my
could have
end,
been
yeah,
in front of.
Yeah, you're
P&Z.
right. You're absolutely
I
right.
understand
Yeah.
representatives you may have
Yeah.
contacted. It's been over a month. And when you said, did you assess a fine of 1,000 already or?
Because the violation itself, being a hazard, comes with $1,000 fine.
But that's already been assessed, or that's for us to rule on.
Right, it's been assessed. He has to pay it regardless.
Okay.
But the board can.
That's what I see right here, and I was just wanting to get the understandings. Been assessed a fine, so
Has been
it's before us to find if a violation occurred and what he needs to do and a time frame in order to get it done. Okay.
When's the next P&Z? Is it Monday?
Monday.
So,
No, because this is an emergency
in
situation.
an emergency, they'll get them to take a walk on. I mean, this is not something we can play with. This is
Are
serious.
you able to come into the office tomorrow? Make an application to,
Can I ask you if I'm gonna put the fence on the swimming pool? That,
Right.
this company told me they can do it for 1,100.
Mhm.
This requires also a special permit or not? The swimming pool protection, the cover, this also requires special permit.
I don't think for a childproof pool
No.
enclosure, I don't think it requires.
I don't think it does, but I would confirm that tomorrow. I'll call you tomorrow and please pick up the phone when I
Yeah.
call.
I was not in United States. I was in Europe when you called me.
Please get.
I will confirm
Yeah.
if you need a permit for the fence around the pool. If not, you can go ahead and do it. And because this is an emergency situation, I would ask the board that if he does need a permit, can they go ahead and issue an order for him to put the fence and get an after the fact permit?
I would,
Makes sense.
I'd get behind that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That way you can get it done. That way you can get it done and then, ask for the permit second. You're going to address the public concern and then you're going to deal with the paperwork on the back end.
That's a better idea. Thank you.
So
Get
I
the
can
fence,
find
get it,
a,
because that's all.
I can find a general contractor to put this temporary fence in front. and then we gonna work the paperwork with with you and the city
So
here.
in other words, make it a priority
Yeah.
to get that fence in place.
Yeah.
While you're doing that, come in and apply for the permit.
Yeah.
Hopefully P and Z, they used to always take walk-ons. This isn't somebody asking for a paint color. This is a serious issue. So hopefully they'll take a walk-on.
I'm sure
Sure, there won't be.
they'll be amenable.
Needs to apply tomorrow. Needs to apply.
Needs to apply.
Okay,
Yeah.
sir, you need to come in and apply for that permit tomorrow.
The permit for the fence
Yes, sir.
and the permit for the dumpster.
The dumpster permits, you can apply online tonight, but to get onto the P and Z board, you have to come in tomorrow.
But I don't know how to do the drawing. I mean, is it a special drawing or something? I need to find the company, that's what. To do the drawing, the
When you come
application.
in tomorrow, it's just to ask to be on the board.
Ah, okay.
So this is an emergency situation, like I said. We just need you to do it as quickly as possible, and
Okay.
then some of the paperwork can be done after the fact.
Exactly.
So tomorrow morning, you say like 9 o'clock,
Yes.
9, 10 o'clock.
Okay.
9:30.
So he's gonna go ahead and get the fence thing to get the construction fence?
Clear up. Are you gonna do a
And then
defense around the pool, or are you just gonna cover the sides with construction fence?
I mean, I don't know what is, let's say, less expensive, to be honest.
Can we just make a motion and he can decide giving,
Right.
today?
Can I, so just to clarify, so if he's applying for a temporary fence, right? Then he needs to apply for it online either tonight or tomorrow morning. Then we need to have the permit in order to go in front of the planning and zoning board.
All right, sir. I'll tell you.
Right, but that's not gonna forestall him, that's not gonna forestall him from continuing to call the construction fence guy and say, come out to my property. You know, so do that, you're gonna have to, operate on two rails here. One, you're gonna have to be dealing with them tomorrow, but that you also gotta get in the phone with those construction people.
Yeah, I need to find
get the fence.
company that they do.
So the
but
point is
temporary.
getting the fence, construction fence, safety fence, whatever we want to call it. That's the critical element. While you're doing that, you will be applying for the permit, which that you need to do online. But then I would suggest calling the code officers and
No,
let
I'll-
them know that you've
I'll
done
come to
it.
The office of Biscayne Park tomorrow.
Okay. All right, can we get a motion?
Case number CEN 23-44, I find that a violation has occurred, that a fine has already been assessed of $1,000, that the resident is to come in compliance by you said Monday they have a hearing?
Monday.
Monday is
That's
the
these,
third.
Yes,
Come into compliance by April the 5th, or a $250 a day fine thereafter. Come in compliance is either have the, secure the property with a construction fence or a pool fence.
okay, so that's 4-5 or 250. I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes 5-0. You understand, sir. You've got to get that fence, safety fence, construction fence, whatever. You've got to start the application process tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning.
And you'll have until 4-5, or there will be a daily fine that kicks in.
If you, from your experience, you think that they will be able to do it, these companies, these general contractors, I mean, the one that I have already is extremely delayed with his work, but you have any other, maybe like a suggestion for a contractor for this safety fence?
No, we can't do that, sir.
I'm just asking, I mean.
Sorry.
I
Yeah.
guess I may need to amend my motion also to find that there should be no after the fact, a double permit fee if the fence is installed prior to obtaining the permit.
Oh,
I mean, the construction fence.
Yeah. absolutely.
There.
I'll second that.
I would accept the amended motion. We re-vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You saved you some money.
Which saved you a little.
Waive the double permit fee, right? Good
So-
catch, Dale.
Tomorrow morning, I will do the construction safety permit in the village of Biscayne Park. And then immediately I will be able to start making phone calls to find some general
Yeah,
contractors.
and just tell them that just come and just do it as soon as you can. Just
Okay,
Google.
okay,
Fast
and
track.
You ride around the village, there are different construction
Yeah,
places.
this is-
when-
yeah.
And they have their sign up there. You might want
this
to
is,
call one of
yeah,
them.
this is what I'm gonna do. And then they will be able to do the fence, this temporary green fence, as you said, and then they put the fence, but it will be some more time to do the permit. It's not
Right.
gonna be any problem that I will
No.
put the fence
That's
without.
why we amended the motion
Ah.
not to charge you a double
Ah,
permit fee.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, thank you.
Good luck.
I need it. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, next.
Our next case, 7D. Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer, Village of Biscayne Park. 741 Northeast 111th Street, case number CEN-23-51, Evangelos Sampanidis. Violation 8.4.7B and 8.4.3B, property maintenance.
Yes.
Oh,
It's like Groundhog's Day.
In reference to this case for overgrown grass, the property owner has obtained compliance in reference to this.
so he's technically in compliance? Okay. Any questions? If not, a motion?
Make a motion to find in case number CEN 23-51, a violation did occur, and is now in compliance, assess a fine of $250.
And I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And close the case when the fine is paid. All right, sir, I believe you're done.
Yeah. So it is in total 1,500 the fine that I have to pay tomorrow.
Okay.
And maybe I can come tomorrow, you will be there, so you can tell me the details for the dumpster. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good luck.
All right, sir.
Our next case, 7A, 690 Northeast 121st Street. Case number CEN-23-15, Olivia Almagro. Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer for the Village of Biscayne Park. Violation for this, it's chapter 8.4, property maintenance. In reference to the property owner, the property had discoloration in the front and sides of the property and failure to maintain wall. At this time, the property owner could not make it. And at this time, we submitted some documents.
Okay, what frustrates me no end is, this is a repeat. We heard this case a couple of years ago. There are two cases with this property, a fence issue and the walls, the discoloration, the need for paint, etc. And I wish I had the order of enforcement in front of me because I don't. Dale, do you remember what our findings were?
I vaguely, I mean, I remember this property very well, and the resident came in, lovely lady, and at the time, I believe we gave her a period to have it pressure cleaned or painted. Yes, the pressure cleaning would correct it, And if not, I'm not sure what fine we assessed, but it's in about, was it before the pandemic?
No, it was during it, because I
During?
remember we were
Well,
zooming,
actually, we were here.
we were zooming, because I was at home.
You may have been.
Oh, okay,
I think I was
Here?
here.
okay. Then it must have been later in the year. Because I
Not sure.
remember for the first few months, we were all at
But I
home.
think it says date filed in
February, that may have been, that may have been when it was filed. I don't know that we heard it that early.
filed. Um,
Of 2020? Oh, no, this year, okay.
No,
No, see, this is an old,
this same, the issue with the maintenance of the wall and the
that goes back to
discoloration.
2020.
We had heard a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago.
Mhm.
And, just wondering if you had any information on that, because I don't know if we, entered a finding, a ruling, with the compliance, or whatever happened with that. Or if it was tabled, because I remember at the time, I believe she had somewhat of a hardship. And I don't know if we tabled for her to come into compliance. It was to have it pressure.
It was,
cleaned.
I do recall it being rather open-ended, and Efrain was supposed to go back
Right.
and inspect, which clearly did not happen because we're sitting here 3 years later.
So I'm thinking that we had not did a
I
finding of.
think you're right. I think you're exactly right. And educate me. I was almost gonna email you guys to ask you to bring the orders of enforcement from that. Is that allowable for me to have asked for that to have been included? Because that would have been such a help of
Which one was the
orders of enforcement. I kind of, I try to tread and not overstep my bounds. I'm very careful, but if we, right,
Colored. Some of the pictures look pretty. good.
should have done that.
It's,
Because that would make a huge
it
difference.
does.
I mean, when someone asks for an extension, it's hard not to grant it. But she's basically had an extension for 2 years. And I just find that frustrating.
Oh, this is, what did she
Yeah,
do?
here it is.
Right? I mean, it's just constant. There's a,
This is after.
I mean, it's, she's basically had an extension for 3 years. But that's on us. We didn't tighten it up.
Right. Oh, we're here now.
You had already given her one.
On this one here.
I'm not comfortable all the way to June.
No, I mean, given the fact that, this property's been before us for the same issue, back before us again. The code officer has granted an extension from
Already.
when it was first, noticed back in January, and gave a 30-day, I believe, extension.
March 6th to get everything done, including the painting?
And painted. That's what she said the last time.
It needs.
It's beyond.
She says it in this letter, today, she says, I acknowledge that my resident requires painting.
Right.
But due to unforeseen circumstances, I'll not be able to do so until June 1st, and I think that's what we're talking about. But I mean, she's done everything else except for that. I mean, she obviously was saying to you, hey, look, all I need to do is pressure clean, this will be fine. So she pressure cleans it and says, you know what? You're right, Miss Grant. This thing is still need to paint. But now I need to paint it, but now I got to go into my pocket. I didn't think I was going to go in my pocket, and I'm going to need more time. Where, I don't know what the unforeseen circumstances are. The board seemed, I don't know, if June 1st is, what is that? That's 3 months from now, 90
I
days?
mean, I'm all in on working with people, but when someone's had 3 years
Years,
and they already got a month extension,
3 years.
not. Right.
Well,
once they obtain a paint permit, how long does it take how long does the paint permit last?
180 days. Yeah,
6 months.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wouldn't mind making a motion for discussion or whatever. Or can we have the discussion now? I'm of the mindset, go ahead and require that she obtain a paint permit, give her a date to do it, but if I make a motion, I'll be finding her in violation.
Yeah.
And assessing a fine and to pull a permit within the next,
If she can pull the permit, you still have 6
Within the
months to
next-
get it done. But she actually buys herself more time by getting the permit pulled.
Well, here's my question. The other stuff that we're talking about 3 years and all that stuff, is that before us? I don't know that I've been able to consider.
Before us.
Is that in this packet?
no, it's
No,
not
the
in
only,
the packet.
the only one that's,
Okay, I mean, Ms. Grant, do you know what happened 3 years ago did you look in the file? But I mean, I think that it would only be fair to the process to view the evidence that's before us. And the evidence that's before us is, this lady, who's written this letter that says, that in conjunction with what you said, Ms. Grant, that she had a disagreement with you about what it took to put her house in compliance. You said you need paint and pressure cleaning. She said, I just need pressure cleaning. She's now pressure cleaned it. She's done it. She's now acknowledged that, you know what, I need to do more. So I think that she's acknowledged, and what we really ultimately want was we want this lady to paint her house, right? So instead of, I mean, my view is, and I don't know if I gotta do it in the form of a motion, is to give her a date certain to obtain a paint permit. Can we force her to do the paint by a date certain?
no, because the permit is good for 6 months. So once she pulls that permit, we can't override the permit and say it must be done by a certain date.
Well, why don't we make her to do, if she's acknowledging this, and give her a date certain to get the paint permit? So
Which is
Because
what
at
my-
least we know.
you're gonna find her in violation, but I mean,
Well, she is in violation because the citation was failure to maintain walls, unsightly paint discoloration in the front. Now, whether she thinks that had a disagreement, it hasn't come into compliance. Pressure cleaned and it's still not in compliance.
No.
It's still discolored. And not in compliance with what she was cited with.
right, but
And
when
this
she,
is from January the 18th, and then they had a conversation, and she said, I needed, the date of posting was January 18th. Then in February, she said she needed
More
extra
time.
time, and they gave her from February until March the 6th. So that's already January, February. That's almost 2 full months. And now we're at the end of March, so that's 2.5, almost 3 months.
so 3 months from violation to the pressure cleaning, right?
Oh, she hasn't pressure cleaned. She hasn't done it.
She pressure cleans.
She pressure cleaned, yes. I mean,
It
you could,
worked.
right.
It took her 3 months to pressure clean. I mean, I pulled a permit for my fence and and I started the process 6 months ago. And still, I mean, it's a process. I mean, to find people out there to do stuff takes a long
But
time.
paint permits aren't long. Paint-
Huh?
It's only a paint approval. They don't take long.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying. Why don't we force her to get the paint permit? She's now, I mean,
That's Dale's.
right, but you're finding her in violation. What is the violation?
The violations for not coming into compliance,
Right.
either by just requesting a paint permit, putting in for a paint permit. I believe the paint permits are free.
Yes.
It doesn't cost anything for a paint permit to be requested. And if after having it pressure washed, it didn't work out, you apply for a paint permit.
Well, I mean, I wish she was here. I don't know when she did the pressure cleaning, but this letter is dated is today at 1:26 PM. I mean, I don't know when she got the acknowledgement in her mind that Miss Grant was correct, that she needs paint. It took her 3 months to get to get her house, pressure cleaned. I don't know. I don't know if that's,
Right. And- Because to give her until June 1st before she even gets around to starting the process.
This house can be in this shape until December.
No, whoa.
This house could stay in this shape until December, 6 months on a paint permit.
But read what
I,
she says, nonetheless, I acknowledge that my residence requires painting, but due to unforeseen circumstances, I will not be able to do so until June 1st. So we have a 6 month timeframe that a paint permit is open, right? We can give her what she wants and then we get what we want. She's going to paint it in 3 months. And
We can't force her to paint it by June 1st.
well, we're not forcing her because she's acknowledging that she wants to do something by June 1st. But
Do it.
well, we shouldn't have to agree to a fine either. So we can either give her a $250 fine or we can say, here, get your house painted by June 1st. Why can't we do that?
We can't override a permit. If the permit allows 180 days, we can't say you don't get 180 days.
may I,
Janie, I think.
May
we're all on
I-
the same boat with that. All Michael's saying is he doesn't agree with fine.
I agree with the fine.
And but that's not what, he's just saying, I don't agree with fine. Requiring her to pull a permit ASAP within the next, when this, is it?
I just want to,
If it's a, oh, it doesn't even have to go.
well,
See,
well,
that's what I want.
okay, so to answer the question, if it's an approved color, then it's automatically the permit is issued. But I just want to clarify something. And I apologize. The permit is valid for 60 days. Yes, not 6 months. So it's 60 days.
Oh, so there you go.
And they got 30 days to comply. If they don't comply, then they'll have to reapply again. That's what it
Okay,
says.
so it'll essentially be exactly what she's saying by virtue of the 30 days and the 60 days. It'll be by June 1st, she'll have the place painted.
That's right.
Oh.
Because if we require her to pull a permit, and if it has to go before P and Z, it won't make this one, but we can put it for the next one. Then if if she has a special color and it passes, if it doesn't pass, then she just has to get an approved color, but we can ask for a permit to be applied for and achieved and obtained in the house, yes, by next P and, not the next one, but the following. I hear what you're saying, and I understand what Michael's saying with regards to fine. Janie and I just have prior knowledge of this property because it was the exact same issue. I don't have a problem. I remember the residents at the time, I believe, a little difficulty in complying with having the house painted, and that's why she wanted to give her time to pressure clean. That's been about 2 years. It's the same issue, and I can sympathize, and I have no problems doing this little bit of extra time if you get compliance by June. And maybe the next time we'll have a little some records.
Well, look, and if it happens and if that problem continues, then we could say in June, we said we gave you everything that you wanted. We gave you everything that you wanted and look, we're still here. And we didn't even consider evidence that was potential evidence that, you know, in this quasi judicial role, we're not allowed to consider because it wasn't before us for the full board, and we went above and beyond. I think that, you know, I would feel comfortable with that. I'll make a motion to, I mean, I don't know how to articulate it, you know, require her to get a building permit or painting permit within what, a date certain?
When's this, not this P and Z, the next, we hear P and Z is heard on 2 weeks from the 3rd, which is the 17th. So it would be after, yeah, it would be
Permit,
around the 19th.
permit,
They would have known whether she passed.
you're about right, yeah.
Okay.
And she may pick a color that's one of the automatic approvals.
To apply for and
Yeah, to apply
Obtain
for and obtain a permit by April
19th or
19th for, what is her address here?
number.
Case number CEN 23-15.
daily fine if she doesn't, pull a permit?
If she doesn't pull the permit?
Yes.
I mean, I think that's an easy one. I say yes. That'll be fine.
Part of your motion.
That'll be, whatever the statutory 250 per day.
So your motion, Michael, make sure we got it right. That she is to pull a paint approval permit by
April 19th.
18th, or a $250 daily fine after that.
Exactly.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And Raphael, thank you for correcting me. That makes me feel much better. I'm thinking 6 months. So wait till the first permit and it'll be December. Thank you. I appreciate being corrected. Thank you.
Perfect.
Okay.
Our next case, 7E. That's 11113 Northeast 10th Avenue. Case number CEN 22-95. Nadia Deravine and Edith Osies. Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer, Village of Biscayne Park. Violation, section 5.4.1, clear visibility triangle. In reference to this case, the property owner obtained compliance, reinspection was done today, and photos were taken. Photos were just submitted into evidence.
December, January, February, March, April, March, 4 months.
Which, yeah. The original courtesy notice was November. And it took, yeah, 4 months. Okay, questions? Motion?
Wait, so where's the homeowner that they just,
They've now complied.
Yeah.
And they have it trimmed now as of today,
right?
but
there
they
was
were
a
in
violation.
from, they were given notice, courtesy notice on November the 29th, 2022. And they had 2.5 months. Yeah, 2.5 months before notice of violation. They didn't do, and then they, until today, so that's been 4 months.
Unfortunately, there are those that wait for the notice to appear.
Do we know when, I mean, we got the compliance today, but do we know when it was actually cut?
It would have been between the 16th
And today.
Oh, okay.
And they did get a courtesy notice, so they had time to comply. And courtesy notices give them the opportunity to fix the situation before it even gets to violations and courts and, you know.
That's what they got back in November and said, hey, you gotta trim these. And then what happens? They don't do anything. And then what, in January, you gave them a violation.
That was
Yeah.
Now she knows she's going to.
We've had a lot of those over the years.
And when she came in, okay, and when she came in on Friday, she said it had been cut.
She came in on Friday, she stayed with.
They were, okay. And they come in response to saying, hey, by the way, this is coming up on the board on Monday.
You even have communication. There's communication in here where you sent them pictures as to what they had to do. Oh. Bravo.
village had sent them.
On February 21st, you guys sent an email saying enclosed produce you requested to taken to the property. You can use the hedge on the left side as a guide to how to trim the palms. You did everything.
But there's emails that she acknowledged where these things have been exchanged, and she's not here.
Well, the important thing is she's now coming to
Yeah.
compliance.
Yes.
and if Anybody has anything else to say, I'd like to make a motion.
Go for it.
I'll make a motion in case number CEN 22-95 that a violation did occur, now in compliance.
I'll second.
I second, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Now, when they have this fine of $250, they have to do what? They come down and pay it and then it gets closed. Okay.
Things like this could have been easily resolved right at the beginning.
Sure.
I mean, with the courtesy notice, it wouldn't have even,
Yes, I would say
Adding.
the biggest percentage of what these folks first, am I right? And that's the time when people talk to you and express, I need more time, I do this, I do. That's where things haven't gotten tough yet. You're working and you're cooperating, but we have so many people, they wait literally till they get this repair. Then they get a sense of urgency.
The next, if I can add, the next, what makes it a little complicated is the collection of the $250. This $250 could stay in our books for
10 years.
endless time, forever. So maybe at some point you may want to consider putting a deadline.
I do,
Can't,
we
You
can't
can't.
put a deadline on that, but I do have a question. When it remains on that, and if and when you send out a notice, let's say in a year that you have an outstanding fine of $250, can't the village assess administrative fee for that? Or charge for the,
Not that I am aware of. No.
yep.
yeah.
I know Linda's been sent.
An option has been to send them to collection. Collection has been is on the, is an option.
Right.
So, you know.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you notice, the folks who came in here tonight asking for a fine reduction.
They're gonna get
once they
lien.
got the lien notice.
Yeah, I know the city's been sending, out letters saying that if you don't come into compliance, you leave. And just the words, will be a lien on your property seems to be enough to get a lot of it.
Yeah. Yes, that's correct.
7H, I have to recuse myself. I don't absolutely have to. I have to only disclose that my husband, Bobby Anderson, did in fact make a complaint on this property, but it's also across the street from me. So best practices says I go outside.
Okay.
When's this? 7/8?
7H.
Yeah.
Board has recused herself from this case due to conflict of interest.
Our next case, 7H. Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer, Village of Biscayne Park. 11807 Northeast, 11th Place. Case number CEN -23-31. Wintrin del Norwood, violation section 8.4.3B, property maintenance.
So what did they do in these photographs we just got? They removed the fence? Is that what they did?
In reference to that case, we got complaints of fence that was deteriorating. And currently, right now, the property owner is trying to take down the fence.
owner. And we found out that he's under medical care and he's unable to do the work himself, but he did make an effort and have someone go to the property. And right now, they're taking down the fence. They've taken a big portion of it down. We're asking the board to give him a little bit more time considering his circumstances. He is ill.
And what you provided us today was like showing that the fence has been removed.
Has been removed of that
Portion.
part, yes.
And the first pictures where it had the chain link fence that was wrapped around a tree and all that,
Yes,
he had that, and so he's now removed that.
now they have removed that part. I think there's only a small portion left in the back.
So he's complying.
He's doing his best to comply. Considering that he's a sick man, he has to depend on other people to help him.
Give any indication about when he would expect to have the remainder of the fence removed?
I spoke with him on the phone last week and he was hoping that everything would be done by today. What was the result when you went there today?
In reference to that, the fence?
Mhm.
Well, the fence is as the reflects in the photographs. So most of it has been removed. And we just have a few pieces still up.
That need to be removed as
So,
well.
so far, substantial compliance.
Basically, this little half fence.
Absolutely.
That's not a fence, right?
That's what's left.
And
Yes. He has opted to remove it. He could have repaired the fence. But because it's a chain link fence and now there are new rules with chain link fences, if he had to build it up, he can't even put back a chain link.
Well, seeing as how it was already over 50% in disrepair, that needs to be
It
removed
has
anyway.
to go. Yes,
So it's not an option.
not even an option. You're right.
So
So he has that little portion to remove and he'll be in complete compliance.
So we just need to make a motion to give him more time? What do you think?
We're asking. He has tried. 2 weeks would be great. He would be happy with that. He has made an effort.
You think 2 weeks is enough time?
I think it's a very small portion left, but because this man is sick, my 2 weeks, maybe his 2 months. So
I mean,
it's
So-
up to the board.
Maybe,
We'll
Could we
take what
give
the
him
board
until
gives
the
us.
next meeting?
yeah, next meeting.
The next, yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
That sounds fair.
I'll make a motion to give Mr. Narwood or Del Narwood till next meeting to come into compliance with the whatever it is.
And so
The fence removal, CEN 23-31.
you give him until April the 25th to come into compliance, because then if not,
Hearing.
we could
we get to hear it
have
again.
hearings on the 26th.
Yeah, until April 25th.
To have a second,
I'll second that.
all in favor? Aye.
I would also like to put onto the record that the chairperson is in compliance with section 112-3343 of the Florida statutes to recuse herself from this case.
Is that the last one?
Well, you know,
April what? April 21st,
April 25th.
25th?
guess what I should have asked, but didn't, was would there have been a daily fine if he doesn't comply by then?
Well, we can take it up at that next meeting.
Please have the results for my notes.
We gave him until April 25th to get the rest of the fence taken down.
He has, he has,
You see, I had to sign the orders of enforcement, so I had to make sure I got it all right.
he has removed everything. Given his health. April 25th, we'll have to make it.
Who made the motion?
Michael, seconded by Judy. 4-0.
Any fine or just?
No, because I didn't think of it until after we had already voted, and then if it doesn't, we'll just, on the next hearing, we'll, that's the fine.
Okay.
Or it'll be brought
So
back
that's
forward.
425 to take the rest of the fence down, or else the fine kicks in after that. Do that?
No, that's what I said, we
Oh.
did. Forgot about it.
Oops.
Yes.
But we'll be there on 4/26 and we can vote to fine it at that point.
Okay. All right,
Well.
thanks, guys. Did we get through everything?
Quit confuse yourself.
I wouldn't, if it was a
That's fine.
combination.
I understand. No, I fully understand.
If it was just Bob making the complaint, all I have to do is that. But when it becomes, it's also across the street from me, best practice says, go outside and wait. Thank you. I believe. Have we gone through all the cases? Okay, we have discussion, which I'm thinking, folks, because I neglected to get you all this information as part of the agenda packet. I'm thinking maybe just a bit tonight, take it home, read it. Let's put it on April's agenda again and come back with like concrete suggestions. If you think, because for example, the $25 admin citation fine, we have heard from every code officer who has ever worked here that it just doesn't work. Am I correct? It's just, especially for things like trash out on the wrong day, because there are people who'd rather pay the $25 than put the stuff out when I want to. So I'd like us to talk about that and to see if there are other issues that we might like to see added to it. And it's not fair to you guys to do this now and say, okay, let's talk. Question, do you have the option on the things that are admin citations? Can you give courtesy notices? Do you have the choice? Is it up to your discretion? Or is it?
Depends on the case. Something like a garbage bin will go straight to the $25 fine. But what I would, what I would like to say about that and what I would want the board to understand even before they look at this is it takes the same amount of time for us to investigate, check the history, take pictures, do the full inspection, come back to the office, issue the violation, go back and post. It takes the same amount of time to do the $1,000 case and the $25 case. Now, if I was given a choice to help this village, I'm going for the $1,000 case. I'm not going to take my time on the 25. So I'll be driving past these containers because I want to look for something more substantial. So
The reason admin citations were born is there's so many violations that don't lend themselves to courtesy notices. Crash out on the wrong day. Oh, if you give a courtesy notice, you legally have to give X number of days, am I correct? Well, by then, it's the pickup day. Let's do it again. Cars parked in the grass, on the front lawn. Oh, well, I went to work today. Now I'm in compliance, so I'm back tonight and I'm not. That's why these things were born, but good point, and especially, I think these were born in 2014 or 15. It's been a while. Things have gone up. All the expenses of what you guys go through, wear and tear on cars and gas and whatever as you get around our village, $25 doesn't cut it. So again, I don't want to make our meeting any longer. If you guys would, look this over, come back with what you think next month, let's toss around some ideas when you had a chance to kind of read through it. We'll table it for next month, if that's okay?
Yeah. And we could maybe find some, administrative citations to others.
other cities.
Great idea, yes.
Exactly.
So are we trying to update our administrative violations?
If we all think that that's obvious, I'm bringing it up as a discussion. If you think
This is the Unico for Mundane.
us.
So says that, is this this game?
Because, and it gives you, and
Into their database,
Oh,
their Unicode. Biscayne Parks is in Unicode, County, or Biscayne.
And what I like about this, it gives kind of an explanation of why these were born. The Village Commission finds that aesthetics are paramount to maintaining an attractive and marketable community, et cetera, et cetera. The violations enumerated below severely damage aesthetics and livability of the community immediately upon their commission. So it gives you a little bit of a background, gives you what the process is, and but the ones that do go to admin citations. So you guys, look it over, come back with your thoughts. What do you think? I would really appreciate it. You guys also please weigh in on knowing the work that only you can know. We can't know. What were your suggestions? And also, are there other violations that you think need to be added to this because they just don't justify going through that whole courtesy notice violation, et cetera.
And also knowing what our local.
I'm sorry, microphone.
I'm sorry, knowing what the other municipalities near us, El Portel, Miami Shores, North Miami, NMB, what their fines are, so that we at least have an understanding of what the rest of the
That would be a
community.
huge help. Okay, motion to dismiss?
I'll make.
Second.
Aye.
Awesome meeting you guys. Really well done. Michael, thank you.
Yes,
Yes, it is.
very valuable to have a Michael. Appreciate it.
No, no, no. No, no, no.
Board.